Let's go.
Oh, Jesus.
That's it.
The pressure's on now.
It absolutely is. We've just started. It's great to see you again, Steve. I know I've already said this to you. We were chatting before the build up, but thanks a million for doing it. Really appreciate it. This is my mate from Australia,
Wait,
guys.
shit, I need to hit OK, don't I?
You're all good. You're all good.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, all good. All good. Um, Everything's fine. It's recording away.
As long as it's
Um,
recording your end, that's the
yeah,
main thing. Yeah.
that's it.
All right,
Just a
let's go.
little, just a little background. Me and you worked together in Hale Vaping. We had a
Yeah.
great time there. It was great when we were on together. We used to have such a laugh. Yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
enjoyed it. But no, it was interesting talking to you about growing up in the Blue Mountains and everything. And then, do you remember one time when we really got into it deep, where we were just having a chat, and you said you were
Hmm.
diagnosed with schizophrenia?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah,
was. Yep. Years
just
ago.
wondering how that came about.
Oh, geez, Dan, that it does go back a long way now. But
Yeah, but I
it,
guess a better way of saying it is, when did you start noticing symptoms?
look, I if you want to go back further than that, Dan, like I was bullied majorly as
Yeah,
growing up in primary school. I was
I'm
the
sorry to hear that, man. It's a fucking
it
terrible thing.
it's a common thing. Bullying is a common
Yeah,
thing in schools, and especially during like the 80s, it was kind of rough back then. It was every man for himself,
yeah,
and so there was just periods of time where I couldn't, you know, had no support from teachers or anything like that. My parents tried to step in a few times, but it still just wasn't getting nothing was getting done really.
yeah.
But just little things I pick up when I was talking to counselors about self harming. It all started with one little cut, and then you know it developed from there.
Hmm.
But what I thought was pretty harmless at the time. Once I got to high school and changed schools and all that, there was one incident there where I just didn't really handle any kind of situation very well. I can't remember exactly the details there, Dan, but
Yeah, no worries.
I remember one situation where I self harmed quite badly and needed stitches, so
Yeah, yeah.
had to go to the doctor. Doctor was quite worried about how it happened, especially at school. So I did what any teenager would have done and spun a good tale.
Yeah, I've done
Not
it
tell the
myself.
truth. Yeah. And next thing you know, that tale wound me up into the police station.
Fuck.
Oh, only because of the fact that I made up a story where I got jumped and someone slashed me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, somebody attacked you, basically.
yeah.
There is a lot of shame that goes with it, isn't there? Like when you're
Oh
cutting
God, yeah,
yourself, you don't want it to be awkward, like to
yeah.
say, I understand. And I find, I don't know, but you ever find doctors handle it very badly? You go into a doctor, they just,
Yeah, look, I think my doctor I had was well, because I'd spun the tale, I didn't know.
yeah,
So
that's fair.
I kind of in my own head, well, not in my own head really, but in my own way, spun it so that the doctor believed it. But when it came to talking to the sergeant, man, he saw straight through it. Hey,
He gets a lot of statements, doesn't he? He knows.
yeah, it was like getting down to the nitty gritty, the little
Yeah,
all the details, and it was just like it wasn't making sense in his eyes. So he removed my mother from the sitting room from the room, and he just right. So what really happened? And then I just came out with it, and I said, look, I'm sorry to mess you around, but I did it myself. And he says, yeah, I thought so.
yeah, yeah.
You need to get some help. Like here's some numbers you need to call. And he called mum back in, and mum obviously burst into tears and did all that. And but unfortunately, we never followed through with it. So
Yeah, it's a tricky
life
one.
life went on. Years later, and it got to about 2000 and geez, what year was it? It was just it was about 2008. where just everything was spiraling out of control, Dan. Like I couldn't find work. I was broke. I'd lost my license for drink driving, and I was still living at home with my parents, and it was just like, fuck, nothing's going. I'm not going anywhere. Got just felt enormous pressure from everything weighing down on me,
Yeah.
and I just went, right, that's it. Took a whole bunch of tablets and fucking tried to top myself.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I remember we had a really good conversation about it, and
Yeah,
I really didn't know how to follow up with that. I was
yeah.
kind of there thinking to myself, God love him, I hope he's all right. How do I say something? I don't want to say something here that's insensitive or,
Oh no,
um,
no, no.
no,
I've done my counselling. I've done
yeah,
my I've gone through the counselling program and come out the other end. So
thank God.
it's
Yeah,
not it's still not easy to talk about, but I can still openly
no,
talk about it, about my experience, because it's important to let people know that you can come out the other end okay.
exactly. Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like, and I hadn't actually at the time done it, but I have my own experience with, suicidal ideation. And
Mm, yeah,
I was never really one for self harm, and I guess like excessive training or I used to just take pills like in the house, whatever was there,
yeah,
like Solpadeine or whatever, and
yeah,
start experimenting with drugs. I know we were chatting about that before, but
yeah,
start taking like just smoking weed, and then I took coke for the first time, and I remember
yeah,
it's the high it gave me, but the crash was really bad, and
yeah.
I remember back in 2019 in December, Friday the 13th. I should have fucking realized, shouldn't
There
I?
you go.
Yeah, I got a reminder on my phone because of a Snapchat I posted. But
Yeah.
when I got in trouble in Holland and spent the night in a cell, and
Mm,
then a few months later, just a shame of that, and then feeling like you were saying there, not going anywhere with life, and
yeah.
feeling like I was going to fail college. I remember
Mm,
sprinting out in front of a car and just jumping at it, and then like saying to the lad when he started giving out to me, he thought I was taking the piss, he thought I was some drunken idiot running out in front of him for a laugh. And I just
yeah.
went, why didn't you fucking hit me? Because I was
Yeah.
angry, but I was also very miserable. That kind of way.
Yeah. I was more sneaky.
Yeah,
I'd prior to the build up of all, taking all those tablets, man, and like that should have
yeah,
fucking killed me. Something was, wanted me to stay alive for some reason that night,
yeah. That's
that
exactly
day.
how I
Well, it was
felt as
during the
well.
day, but yeah, I remembered, one night I was very, very drunk and just not in a good headspace, and
Yeah,
it was raining, it was freezing. I think, yeah, not far out. Yeah, my car had just rolled down an embankment after dropping someone off from home.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, Jesus, how the fuck do I get out of this now? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. My parents are going to fucking kill me. So I just left it, got out of the car, left it, just walking down the street with a bottle in my hand. And I'm like, no, I can't do this. Smashed the bottle, opened up my wrist, and that was it.
yeah, yeah,
And then I was just like, oh, fuck. Now I've made this fucking situation worse. Wrapped up my arms and knocked on my mate's. I walked over to my mate's place. I was walking around the whole town, just fucking in a complete mind headspace that wasn't good, and just crashed there. And I didn't even mention that I'd hurt myself or anything like that. And I got up in the morning, and I must have stretched or something. And my mate's girlfriend saw my wrist, and she just went, "What the fuck happened to you?" And I'm like, yeah, yeah, look, just nothing. And she goes,
yeah,
that's not nothing, man.
yeah.
And she pulled my sleeve up, and she went, oh shit,
That's deep.
Steve, fucking hell, you need to go to hospital right now.
Mm,
So yeah, I ended up getting to hospital, and had the nurse there stitch me up, and as nurses do, they go, oh, what happened? And it's like, self, I did this myself, and um, at that time, mental health wasn't sort of the hot, mental health wasn't really taken seriously at the time. So she made a fucking mince of my stitches, and she went, Jesus, like it's all it's your fault, like I'm not gonna be nice to you or nothing like that. I'm just like, well, fuck you.
yeah. No
Like, well,
empathy or nothing.
no empathy whatsoever. It was
Yeah,
just like, well, yeah, you're a nice one to talk to.
yeah. I find a lot of times it's like that, when you kind of think to yourself,
Mm.
oh, if I hit rock bottom, and a lot of people have said they don't want to necessarily die, but they want someone to realize, look at the
Mm.
shit that I'm going through. And they think when they
Yeah,
go into the hospital having attempted, there'll be a lot of
yeah,
sympathy for them. And they actually find that it's very cold and
yeah,
condescending. This, like you said, you made your bed and you can lie in it now. It's your own
yeah,
fucking fault. And you're kind of
yeah.
like, cheers. Thanks for that. I
But
already feel shitty enough.
my attitude wasn't really to, it wasn't really a cry out for help. It was more, you know, a punishment to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care. I didn't care about the help at the time. I was like, I didn't give a fuck. I just wanted to hurt myself so I could punish myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Was
It was
very
like,
impulsive as well, wasn't it? By the sounds of it, it was just I feel shit, and now
yeah.
I kind of
Oh,
way.
look, it's very innovative, smashing a bottle and opening yourself up.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
um,
exactly.
when there's a will, there's a way, I guess. But
Yeah,
but yeah. So that was the big build up to everything. It was just like, then eventually got the car out and got that sorted. It wasn't as big a deal as I thought it was, and obviously my parents were worried about the cut, and I said, "Oh yeah, I just did that when I, fell down the embankment." So I had my story covered, so my parents didn't know.
yeah,
Um, so then when it came to taking all them pills, it was yeah. Look, it was a very strange afternoon because I was just completely sort of gone mental wise, just drained, feeling hopeless, just not going anywhere. And yeah, it was if it wasn't for my friend Mitch, he had a feeling that something wasn't right, so he came down and saw me out on the bed, and mum and dad, it was just about to come home from school, and if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for their timing, I probably wouldn't have made it. But it's that whole thing of everything happens for a reason. So you know
100%.
um, yeah, so I went straight into hospital. Of course, the ambulance were called, and I was taken up to the hospital, and then once I'd come out of the what do you call it? I don't know, like basically,
ER, like the
yeah,
emergency room. Yeah,
yeah. I was still sort of watched, because I was still on suicide watch.
yeah,
Um, then the mental health team came in and assessed me, and they said, like, we need to put you in. Unfortunately, but I was like, oh, well, you got to do what you got to do. So I was put in the mental ward. I was taken down to the psych ward in Penrith, which was another hospital that wasn't too far away. So I was just put
yeah.
in
In
put in
West
there.
Sydney.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I was put in there for probably about a week to a week and a half, and eventually let out. But yeah, but with the proviso that I would see a psychiatrist and psychologist as well. So after and this is where the diagnosis came in, that going through all the behavioural patterns, um, they thought that I had a mix of different things. It wasn't mostly schizophrenia, even though that was on the table.
yeah.
There was like depression and I think PTSD as well
From the bullying,
from
the bullying would it
yeah,
have been from? Yeah,
yeah, bullying and just not being able to handle situations,
yeah.
especially confrontations and things like that. I just kind of
Mm.
freeze. You know,
I know that feeling all too well. Where
Mm.
you're either too extreme or you're too. I guess like I'm a big fella and I used to get quite aggressive with people. So, but they
Yeah,
were poking me, that kind of way. Like a
yeah,
lot of the bullying I would have faced would have been verbal, and then I'd
yeah,
lash out and hit someone and hurt them. But it'd be,
yeah,
oh, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And the
yeah,
teacher, it almost felt like was bullying me then because they were like, what the fuck are you at? And you're in trouble
yeah,
again. My mom and dad would be upset because they'd have to get called to the school. And then
yeah,
I started internalizing it, where, like you
yeah.
say, with confrontation, it was like, what can I do here? And people were like, oh, you're not going to do something. I was like, I can't, or I'll get in trouble. I can't fucking win
Exactly.
here. Do you know what I mean?
I know,
You
right?
can't win.
You lash out, and then all of a sudden it's your fault.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
I think I showed you that video of the kid that he was a big fella, big solid lad,
Mm.
uh, who was getting severely bullied in one of the schools in Australia,
And
and
then
he
he
just
body
he just
slam.
picked up this
Yeah.
kid and he
It's like,
fucking
good
body
on you,
slammed
good
him.
on you.
Yeah, yeah, and
Exactly.
that's he earned a lot of praise for doing that. You
Yeah,
know,
but that's the thing. It's not just like they always like to make it, the American way, like where it's the big
Hmm.
jock that comes over and picks on the nerdy kids.
Yeah, yeah.
In my
It was actually the little
experience,
kid picking on the big kid, and
yeah,
the
the
big
little
kid just
mouthy prick that keeps giving it to people all the time.
yeah.
And
It's
then
like a little yappy dog that you just need to give a good kick.
that's it, yeah. And then I love dogs, but I'm there going, you fuck, you bite me one
Hey,
more time.
will you?
That's the thing, like, and then you see mastiffs, like big, huge dogs, and they're grand, chilled out, real calm. And this
Yeah,
little yappy keeps fucking annoying them. You're like, this dog could eat you in one bite.
yeah. Keep going and see what
That's
happens.
Yeah, but the allowances were always made as well for the smaller kids. Like, oh, don't be picking
Yeah,
on the little kids, and all. You're like, you have not seen the build up that's happened to this,
yeah. There's a
And if
backstory.
yeah, and if you're gonna talk the talk, you better walk the walk. That kind of way.
Hundred
I feel like
percent.
a lot of people can give you a lot of abuse and then go, "Oh, you should know better." I've had that so many times. Like, why should I know better? I'm the same
Yeah,
age as him. I'm just a bigger lad. Why the fuck should I know better?
exactly.
And my own brother, like being such a big, strong fella, but he's quite a gentle soul. Like a really good rugby player. But
Yeah,
like you were saying there, confrontation. He was always told he had to kind of make way for other people, which I think is very unfair on him. Like
yeah,
just because you're a big fella, you've less rights than other people. Don't fuck with the big guy. Don't poke the
yeah,
bear.
yeah. Well, that's it.
You know.
Yeah. So I went through the program. I went through the whole mindfulness program up in Katoomba in the Blue Mountains, which was fantastic. And then it was literally towards the end of 2008
Mm.
that you know um, I started to make some more positive decisions that would take me in the right direction. So I ended up shooting way above my belt. Thinking,
Mm.
let's just go for it. Let's just see what happens. So
Yeah.
I ended up doing an entrance exam for audio engineering.
Yeah. I remember we were talking about that before.
Yeah, yeah. So I thought, like, I need to brush my maths up. So one of my mum's friends wasn't my mum's friend actually. He was working at me bloody school. um, I looked up my old maths teacher, and he gave us some tutorial. You know, he helped tutor me for the exam, just brushing up on the maths that I really needed to get in, like scientific notation and all that kind of shit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he helped me brush up on that, and I took the exam, and I ended up making it in. So that was fantastic. So I did 3 years of of the degree and completed it, and I did it full time. Just absolutely smashed it, and that was good therapy because that was because I love music, of course. Music's
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
my things, one of my
Exactly.
big passions in life, as well as blacksmithing. Um, so it's some music was really that tool that could really pull me out of it, and because it was audio engineering, it was listening to different types of music and analytically listening to music, and also making my own at the same time, which is awesome. So being able to take that in different directions. But as uni was going on, the I guess the weekly sessions were getting more and more sort of separate, more and more apart.
Yeah, exactly. That happens when you start to get to a certain level where you find the
Yeah,
therapy's working. They go, oh, you don't need it as much anymore,
yeah.
and then
It
it's
started off,
yeah,
every week to every second week to every
mm,
month to every second month, and then by the end of the degree, I wasn't even going anymore. So
yeah,
I did have a few slip ups where I did have to go back in and just sort of retrace and go through. Like I kept self harming throughout the whole thing. You know,
yeah, yeah,
but we all slip. It's like you know, I guess it's like an alcoholic.
yeah. You're
When
never
they first
far from a
start,
slip.
it's very hard. To just completely stop. You do slip.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
um, you just got to remember all the techniques that were taught to you,
Yeah,
and just rehash. No one's pointing the finger, going, "Oh, you fucked up. We got to start all over again." It's like, no, look, let's retrace what happened,
hmm
and then take it from there. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just the situation that you were in at the time. We just need to work on, how to slow that mind down when you're in that situation again.
that's it. Yeah. Did you ever do cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy?
No, not really.
No,
No.
those two have really helped me. It's like one leads into the other, but
Yeah,
both have mindfulness incorporated into them. You know
yeah.
that
Mine,
kind of
mine
way.
was heavily mindfulness based. Just
Yeah,
just mindfulness. That's all it was. And just knowing trigger points. So when I'm in that kind of mood, or that mood is starting to creep in, it's like,
yeah,
right, I've got to start distracting myself now. But don't fight the mood, because the moment you start fighting it, it gets worse.
yeah, for
All
sure.
right. So um, when that mood creeps in, it's like, all right, what have I got around me that can distract me? All right, I've got a guitar, cool. I've got a computer, cool. Right, let's maybe just write it. Right, mate. Let's try and see if we can fucking write a song.
Mm,
Cool. Let's
yeah,
do that.
it's a good way of looking at it.
Or I've got I'm working on getting a forge together, so that's going to be another outlet again.
Really good.
But when I was going through it at the time, I still had my forge in Australia. I don't have it here, but as I said, that's a work in progress. But back in Australia, the forge was my major outlet. So it was just like, let's smash a bit of steel. Fuck it.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
better way to um, let out anger than to smash a piece of steel and turn it into something that's beautiful.
it's a good way of thinking of it. To be fair, I like
Yeah.
that way of thinking. Yeah, it's just kind of getting on to why did you decide to come to Ireland in the first place? What kind of prompted you to come over?
Oh, look, I was married at the time and had the missus at the time was dying to come over. So
Yeah,
um, that was one of the major reasons. And also, I'd never left Australia, so I never really sort of
all right.
left experienced what other countries were like. So I had a British passport, so I thought, well, I can come. It's no problem whatsoever. So
Yeah,
let's have an adventure. But unfortunately, the marriage broke down, and I stayed, and it was pretty messy.
yeah.
But
These things are never easy.
no, she left, and I stayed. I just didn't want to. I wasn't ready to go back home yet. You don't mind if I vape during this, do you?
Oh, no worries. Saves you having to go out for a smoke. No worries
Exactly.
at all. We worked in a vape shop after all together. Show
Uh,
off the merchandise.
don't work there no more now.
No, no.
No.
Um, what are you up to
But
now? Actually, you were in Harvey Norman, weren't you? When I was talking to you.
yeah, I was. But that only lasted a year,
Yeah.
and
The
then
irony of that, though, Harvey
uh,
fucking Norman.
oh, normal, more like it. It was a not exactly the most ideal place to work, but it kept the bills going. But
Yeah,
I ended up back in Hale as well after that contract had ended, and then it was just the big push to get out of retail. Hated
yeah.
it was getting to me now. Retail, over 10 years of retail experience, it can really get to you. And
Having to
so
smile with everyone.
yeah, just getting fed up with everyone's shit. You know,
Absolutely.
people becoming more ruder and ruder, especially
Oh, for
especially this
sure.
especially this time of year. It's fucking mental.
I remember at Christmas time, me and Marie were putting away all the new stock, getting
Yeah,
prepped for the winter, and we were
yeah,
stepping over everything and tiptoeing around trying to get over all the new stock coming in. Oh my god!
yeah.
And then customers coming up with the stupidest complaints. You know,
Oh,
like
look,
their vape had welded together because they hadn't put any liquid in it in ages, and the coil had
yeah,
literally burnt out. It was like,
yeah.
oh,
And people are just chances, and like yeah, it was time to go. So I ended up getting in at Sky as a loyalty advisor.
Oh, very good.
That lasted 6 months. Didn't pass my probation. It was a
Okay.
very, very tough role. Um, yeah, you really need to be on your game there, but at the same time, the work environment wasn't good working there either. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a pretty toxic environment, to be honest. Like, don't the people are great to work with,
yeah,
but management, oh god, they got a lot of oh, man, not good at all, man. It was absolutely terrible,
yeah.
you know.
Sorry to hear.
But now I'm working in what would you call it, a van rental company,
Hmm,
and
yeah.
that's much better, less stress. You know, it has its own stresses, but it's nowhere near as much as what it was like at Sky or in any other retail environment. But you know, it's much easier to deal with,
Yeah,
especially
it happens with
from
retail.
a mental point of view too. It's great. It's perfect.
Really good. Yeah, that's the thing. Like finding the proper fit. Like,
Mm,
I found retail like everywhere I went. Like when I worked in JD Sports, and then when I worked in
yeah.
Hale Vaping, worked in a cafe as well. It's just some of the questions you get asked are ridiculous, and like,
Oh yeah.
you can get so many good customers, and you're like, you're having a laugh with them. They're great. You love seeing them,
Yeah.
and that's a majority of people. But when you get
Mm,
those arseholes coming in, they just put you in a bad mood for a good while afterwards.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
hard to get yourself out of that space. And I
Yeah.
guess some companies just have a little toxic atmosphere, I guess, creeping in. And once it creeps in,
Yeah.
it's hard to get rid of it, isn't it?
Well, that's why I tried to treat you guys as well as I could. You know,
Yeah, and you did.
from a from a you know like Hale is a respected company, but at the same time, it wasn't it's not the greatest to work for. But
Hmm. You'd know
I,
more
I
than me.
tried I tried to treat you guys as equally as possible and be as fair as possible with you, and you know,
I always enjoyed working with you, like, and then Ben, when we were on shift together, Ben
yeah,
kind of worried me at first, but I was kind of
yeah.
like, "Is this lad?" But he was funny. The shit that he'd come out with was just hilarious.
Oh my god, you had to have you needed the crack in those shops. You
You
really did.
did, yeah. I remember being on my own before, like for 9 hours, and then an order came in, and I was there thinking, "Oh fuck!" But I have to serve customers, and I don't know where I'm going to
Yeah.
put this. And the girls in the therapy clinic were really sound. Like they helped us
Oh yeah.
store it over. They were so nice.
Look, there's support around if you just got to find
But
it.
that's being a good human being. Like because we were nice and sound to them, they were the
Yeah.
same back. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
it's just like there's never an excuse to be an arsehole, I don't find. You know what I mean?
What's the point in being an asshole? No one's going to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Oh, I was
But
watching
then,
Team America World Police the other day, the South
oh,
Park creators.
yeah,
And he's just saying the assholes just want to shit all over everybody.
yeah,
And
exactly.
the dicks want to just fuck all the time. But
Yeah,
without your dicks, nobody be fucking the assholes.
yeah.
We'd all get covered in shit.
Dicks like pussies, and dicks also like assholes.
Dicks also fuck assholes. You get covered in shit.
But
What a movie.
I met another lovely lady, and we're engaged and looking to get married next year. So
Lovely. Delighted for you,
we
man.
we click really well.
Good.
Yeah, she's a lovely woman, beautiful woman. Couldn't have
Really
found a
happy to
better
hear.
couldn't have found a better soul.
Good stuff, man. I'm really happy for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Thanks.
important to find someone, isn't it? Like someone important that we love. That
Exactly.
that gets us as well.
Yeah.
Warts and all.
Hmm. Absolutely. We all have our own problems, Dan. And if you find that ultimate partner there that's going to stand by you, and it makes you want to stand by them and really support them, and they support you, then you got that click. It's a beautiful thing.
100%. No, it is. It really is. Just
Yeah.
we're coming up to the first 40 minutes. So do you want to
Okay.
take a quick break, maybe 10, 15 minutes, and we come back and do another?
I don't know. We'll just go straight in. I'm feeling the
Yeah,
groove, man. It's
as long
good.
as you're
Yeah.
good. We'll carry
Yeah.
on talking, and then this will just kind of cut itself out, and I'll start a new meeting. That all
Yeah.
right? That work for you?
Yeah. Perfect.
Lovely,
Perfect.
lovely.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's just kind of Want to get a little insight into Australia? You can tell me all about it. Do you recommend it as a place to go?
Well, man, for you're a rugby sports person yourself,
Yes.
and Australia is huge on the rugby. So if you're into your sports, then by all means go for it.
Yeah, I also I was at Ireland versus Australia, and I always love having a chat with Aussie fans. Just real down to earth, like such sound
Yeah,
guys. Just real easy going, I find a lot of the time, like yourself.
yeah, yeah. We're pretty easy going. We don't, we like to, you know, beat around the bush, as you say. We're pretty much straight down the line. Just that's why we get on well with the Irish, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like in a lovable kind of way, just get to the point and
Yeah, yeah. Like you just have,
firm but fair.
yeah, exactly.
Really good.
We'll call you on your bullshit as well.
Yeah, but that's a good thing, isn't it? Because there's too much bullshit going around nowadays.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is gonna cut
Yeah.
out on me now, so I'll start the new one, and we'll get back to it when, yeah, we get straight into it.
Yep. Go for it.
Cheers. Cheers.